All right, we welcome Oregon student athletes Dwayne Benjamin and Elgin Cook to the dais. I'll make a couple of quick procedural reminders. If you have questions, please raise your hand and we'll get a mic holder to you, and please wait until the microphone gets to you before you ask the question. Please direct your questions to specific student athletes if you can. That'll make the process up here go easier. A reminder to silence your phones. And these news conferences are aired via satellite. The satellite coordinates SES3, transponder K05, SES3, K05. And let's go ahead and take questions for Oregon student athletes.
Dwayne, you've said that this team is playing some of the most together ball it's played all season right now. How are you guys feeling headed into the tournament as a 1 seed?
We feel good. Like I said, we felt like the tournament was big for us. We played some of the best basketball we played all year, and we got a little confidence going into it. Everybody's playing well, and we feel that we got a good strategy going in.
This is for Elgin, and Dwayne, you can answer too. I know you're aware that no number 1 seed has ever lost in this tournament. Does that give you more confidence, or does that make you worry a little bit?
I think seeding doesn't matter. As long as we come in the game focused and we execute our game plan that Coach Altman tells us to do, I think we'll be fine.
Like I said, I agree with him. We're not worried about seed. We were excited Sunday when we got the number 1 seed, but as far as now, we're just excited to play Holy Cross.
Elgin, what has Dana's message been to you guys, besides the fact that seeding doesn't really matter?
Stay in ourselves, continue to play the way we've been playing these last couple games, and just rebound the ball and focus in on the defensive end, and shots will go.
Tom Klaus, Spokes and Review. Holy Cross coming in after playing their tournament, knocking off the number 1, number 2, I believe, and then they got the win the other night. What have you guys seen from them, and are you guys concerned at all playing a team who is so hot?
We know they play a 1-3-1 zone, and we're gonna have to work on that. And we feel like we're hot, just as hot as them. So we're gonna come in and try to execute our game plan and try to win the game.
It's a question for both of you guys. You haven't played since Saturday night, so how tough is it to wait this long when you're riding an 8-game win streak, or do you kind of prefer the rest in between?
I think it's the same feeling that we had from the Pac-12 tournament. We haven't played since Saturday, and that means we got a lot of rest, and we got a chance to watch their game and watch how they play. And this practice is going to get us ready for the game, and we'll be ready.
Like I said, I agree with him. The days off is good for us, it's big for us. We just played a tournament with 3 days in a row where we had to play, and we played 3 good teams, and it took a lot out of us, but I think the rest is big for us.
Elgin, what were your first impressions of Tyler when he got on campus and started playing ball with you guys, and then how have you seen, what's improved most in his game as the season's gone on?
When Tyler first got on the campus, he was real quiet. Like, he wouldn't talk as much, and I think that's a big part of our success. Now that he's talking a lot and he's vocal on the court, and that's what we need from him. And he's been playing amazing as well.
Howie Stolick, Portland Tribune. For both players, just because of Holy Cross's record and the seeding and statistics and everything, obviously you guys are heavily favored to win. How honestly do you go about not being overconfident?
We don't try to buy into those things. We're focused on Holy Cross, and seeding does not matter in March. And I'm pretty sure you guys seen a better game. It just doesn't matter. We're gonna come in focused, and we're ready to play Holy Cross. It's the only thing we're worried about right now.
Like he said, we just worry about ourselves. We just go in there and try to play Oregon basketball, and it's been working for us, so we're just gonna go with that.
For both of you guys, Chris Boucher, have you seen a player like him before?
Honestly, no. I mean, his versatility is a major factor in our success, and the fact that he can do so many things, and he never seems to amaze me, but I've never played with or actually ever seen somebody play the way he plays.
Yeah, same. Chris does a lot of things on the court for us, and he's an athlete. He can run all day, and I love playing with him. So I haven't seen any other player like him.
Kind of a short preparation, not knowing who you were going to play. How much exposure did you have to Holy Cross before they played the other day? What did the coaches try to put in front of you? And then what's the crash course been like the last, since they played to try to get familiar with them?
I really haven't heard that much about Holy Cross, just being that we were focused on Pac-12 basketball, so it's easy to get caught up watching. Yeah, we know they play a 1-3-1. We watch their game, and we know they shoot a lot of three-pointers, and they got a lot of great athletes as well.
I'll direct this to Elgin. Following up on Chris Boucher yesterday, he was granted his a waiver for next year. What's the feeling like with your team, even though you two are seniors, but what's the rest of the team feel about that?
Amazing. It was a bunch of excitement. They got a bunch of great players coming back, and I'm glad Chris got his waiver.
Have you guys seen much 1-3-1? If so, from who? And what are general ways to attack that?
I know Baylor. We played Baylor the second game of the season. They had a great 1-3-1, and the way we attack it is you just got to get the ball to the middle and to the baseline and try to get easy baskets and get the shooters open shots.
More questions for Oregon student athletes? All right, we'll dismiss these two and bring Coach Altman up in just a second. Yes, sir. All right, we welcome Coach Altman to the dais, and we'll go ahead and ask Coach to make a quick opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions. Coach?
The team is, coming off a pretty good series in our conference tournament, and so now we're anxious to get the NCAA tournament started. Our guys have played awfully well down the stretch, and we're sure hoping to continue that.
What's been the process of familiarizing them with Holy Cross since the bracket was initially announced and then since they played?
Well, we spent Wednesday kind of split between the two teams in our preparation. And then we watched the game Wednesday, and now we'll get ready for Holy Cross. But their 1-3-1 zone is giving some people some problems, so we'll have to execute against that. And they shoot a lot of threes, so we're going to have to extend our defense and push out a little bit.
Coach, I'm Klaus, Spokesman Review. I was just hoping if you could just expand a little bit about what Dylan Brooks has meant to you this season. Obviously, leading you with points. He's also rebounded, also tied for the lead in assists. But just a little bit about what he's meant to you so far this year.
Dylan's made tremendous progress from a year ago. He got a lot of experience last year. He played a big role for us as a freshman, but this year he's made a big step. We've asked him to do a lot more. Dylan spends a lot of time in the gym. He's improved his body. He's made himself a go-to guy, and the good thing about Dylan is we have a number of players that we feel can score, and so we're pretty balanced. And as you mentioned, Dylan has moved the ball around a little bit, has done a good job of assisting his teammates and scoring some baskets. So I like the way he makes basketball plays. We talk to all our guys about making basketball plays because we do have the ability to score in a number of different ways, and it's important that we share the ball, and he's done a good job there.
Coach, there's already been one surprise in the tournament so far with Baylor being knocked out today. How cautious are you with a team like Holy Cross that's sort of coming in on a hot streak?
Our guys definitely won't underestimate anybody. I think our guys have done a good job of respecting our opponents throughout the year. I'm a little more concerned about them, being a little tight. I want them to go out and continue to play hard, but we definitely won't underestimate anybody. Our guys will be ready. We just got to relax and play. I think one thing that'll help us, 5 guys played in last year's tournament and won a game, and so I think those guys will be relaxed. Tyler Dorsey and Chris Boucher are playing a big role for us. They're new, but the other 5 in our 7-man rotation have played quite a bit. Kendall and Roman off the bench have not had a lot of experience, but we have had guys that have played in the tournament before.
Dana, you guys had a lot of success against top 25 teams. Now combine that with what you say, playing in a tough Pac-12 conference. How has the schedule prepared you guys for what you hope is a long tournament run?
Well, I think, by the computer numbers, our schedule was, I think, 3rd in the country. So we have played a good schedule. I think our league's been very competitive. I think it's been very athletic. We've got a lot of young, good players in our league. So, I think we're ready. We've gone on the road and played in some tough atmospheres. I think Arizona's a pretty tough place to play, in Utah, and we've been successful there. We were successful in the conference tournament in a venue that Arizona and Utah, had quite a few more fans there than us because of location. So I think we're prepared, but we're still going to have to go out and play, and I hope we continue to play the way we did in the conference tournament, because I thought we were playing pretty good.
Dana, before the season started, what did you expect that you were going to get out of Tyler, and maybe in what ways has he exceeded what you thought you were going to get from him?
You know, I had an opportunity to see him play quite a bit between his junior and senior year of high school, and then I saw him play his senior year a couple times. I just loved his confidence and his ability to score, you know, and he's done a good job of sharing the basketball and making plays for other, but he knows when he's got an opportunity, he can go get a basket. And that's come from years and years of scoring, you know. So we've asked him to improve his defense, to handle the ball better. And I think he's made great strides there. I think he's got a ways to go, because I think he can be a guy that brings it off, pick on the balls a little better and makes better decisions. But he's a good basketball player. He's a good scorer. And he's played really well the last 5 games. Played well in L.A., and then he played well in Vegas, and he's really had a good stretch here.
More questions for Coach? All right, we'll let Coach go and say thank you. Coach. We welcome St. Joseph's student athletes, DeAndre Bembry, Aaron Brown, and Isaiah Miles to the dais. A couple of procedural reminders. If you would, when you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone holder to deliver a microphone to you. Please wait until the microphone is there until you ask a question. Please direct questions to specific student athletes if you can. That makes the process go a little smoother. Silence your cell phones. And this news conference and all news conferences are aired via satellite. The coordinates are SES3, transponder K05, SES3, K05. So let's go ahead and direct questions to St. Joseph student athletes.
Bill Cook from GoBearcats.com. Aaron, I'm pretty sure you played against Cincinnati when you were at West Virginia. What do you recall from kind of things, the style of play and what to expect from the way they play, even though this is a different team now?
I did, but, it's a completely different team, but, they still play the same way. Physical, big bodies, rebound, defend really well. So, we just want to be prepared for that.
Aaron, I know you were on the team last time St. Joe's won the tournament, but you weren't able to play because of the transfer process. Now, especially being such a pivotal part of getting here, what's this kind of experience been like for you?
It's been a great experience, It was definitely a great experience when I just practiced because I was up in Brooklyn. I was a part of the championship team, and I practiced with those guys every day. So I felt just as part of it as they did.
This is for DeAndre. There's a lot of maybe focus on you in terms of being an NBA prospect and one of the best players, mid-major players in the country. But a lot of players make their profile in the NCAA tournament. Is that something that you're kind of thinking about? Is that something that might be motivating you?
Well, always it's team first. People can come here and worry about themselves, and that's how you get out of character. It's always been about the team throughout the year, and I wouldn't have won the 18 Player of the Year if it wasn't for these guys. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm just gonna come in and play our game, and winning. That's what people like. So that's what I'm looking forward to, trying to get another win.
Bill Cook, GoBearcats.com. Isaiah, Cincinnati's known for their defense. Just what have you seen from them? Just what they do defensively. What do you expect from them?
I saw they play a 2-3 match zone, and we played against that when we played against Richmond. So I feel like we're a little used to it. We've practiced against it these past couple of days, and just focusing on where we can find the mismatches at. There's spots in the zone where we can find mismatches, and we're going to try to attack those mismatches the best as we can.
They do block a lot of shots. How much of a concern is that for you?
Not concerned at all. They're big bodies, but like any other game, you have to go to the basket and finish hard. You don't have to worry about that. When you worry about your shot getting blocked, that's when it does get blocked. So, just finish through contact and just finish strong.
DeAndre, I mean, you talk about winning. Last time you guys went to the tournament when you were a freshman, that overtime loss to the eventual national championship, is that something that also motivates you here, wanting to get that win after one of the best seasons in program history?
Yeah, definitely. Just looking back at my freshman year with the team we had, and then the team that UConn had ended up winning the whole thing. It was just a great experience being able to be on that type of level and actually get a chance to play against a team that actually win the whole thing. So just being in that position and seeing that atmosphere is definitely going to help me this year.
More questions? All right, we'll let the St. Joseph student athletes go, and we'll be back with Coach Martelli in a moment. All right, we have Coach Martelli from St. Joseph's. We'll ask Coach to make a quick opening statement and then go ahead and turn it open for questions. Coach?
Well, I mean, 68 coaches have done this and said the same thing. We're delighted to be here. But I'm especially delighted for these players that, with me, leading them, won 13 times last year. We averaged 60 points a game last year. We scored under 60, and this is today's college basketball. We scored under 60, I think, 12 times. And that is a badge of courage this year. We've lost 2 games where we scored 90. So the players' commitment, the coaches' commitment to improvement, to not repeating what happened last year, it's been an honor to be a part of this particular group. We do have a little bit of we get cold shivers when we think about Spokane. We were out here last year. At least we were purported to be out here last year. We played Gonzaga in the preseason NIT, and the score at one point was 60-11. They had 60. So we went back to the same Spokane Community College where we practiced. We looked a lot better than we did last year at this time, and I'm hoping that we can play better basketball tomorrow night against Cincinnati.
Mike Jensen, Philadelphia Inquirer. Phil, when you're asked about DeAndre, you talk about his intangibles a lot, but what's the number one thing you feel like he gives you on the court?
On the court? He gives us a place to put the ball, and I think that a basketball decision is going to be made when he gets the ball. The ball's not going to go someplace that you don't expect it. His turnovers could come down, but it's just the fact that his basketball IQ is really of the next level, where he'll eventually end up.
You talk about the next level, and I think for a lot of guys, the NCAA tournament, is where they become national kind of household names. Do you think that's something that DeAndre is capable of doing, this March?
Putting his name out there?
Yeah, with great performances, on the biggest stage.
Well, look, every team in the NBA came through in the preseason because he had a chance last year at the Nike Basketball Academy to play just terrific basketball in a great setting. And every team came through, many of them multiple times. And I don't even ask who's been to games this year. So he's been evaluated. And just to take it off on a tangent, this new rule that the NCAA and the NBA and the NABC have put together, where these young guys are going to be able to put their name in, find out if they're invited to the combine, go to the combine and play, and then 30 teams that know their business, not some street guy, not some runner for an agent, not the internet, not the college coach, is going to tell him, this is what you should do. And then he and his mother and his grandfather will make a very intelligent decision about his future. He's going to be an NBA player, but this new rule is tailor-made for DeAndre.
Coach Greg Lee at the Spokesman Review newspaper. Everybody's talked all season about the parity across the nation, that this might be the year that a double-digit team makes a deep, deep run into the tournament. Curious your thoughts about that?
Well, since we're an 8, I hope a double-digit team doesn't make a long run into the tournament. Look, I think that the joy in college basketball this year is that we have cleaned it up a little bit, that we are scoring the ball. It's a more enjoyable game to watch on television for sure. It's been officiated better. Let me repeat that. It's been officiated better. So the 3 guys that have the game tomorrow night, I think you've done a really good job. And I also want you to know that we're sixth in the country, fewest fouls. So as long as those guys see this, I'm good with that. But it's older. It's an older. We had this unbelievable phenomenon, which we do all the time. these kids are going to be one and done, and then you look at these draft projections and they're ranked, and then all of a sudden somebody went a month in, these dudes are kids, and now you have like the elder statesmen are taking college basketball, I think, by storm this year, and that bodes well for those teams that have been around. And I think the other thing that parity has done is it's eliminated any fear that you have. So whatever name popped up, you were concerned, but some of the monsters that popped up in years past, you thought, well, I hope that we have a nice charter and I hope we have a nice hotel because we can't beat them.
Bill Cook from GoBearcats.com. When Cincinnati popped up, what went through your mind?
Well, here's the first thing that popped into my mind was here's another team that the personality of the coach is transferred to the players on the court. And Mick Cronin is a feisty guy, not in a negative sense, but he's demands a certain way on every possession. And I thought that's a problem because his players do, and it doesn't happen in every program where the coach's personality is taken out onto the court with his players. The second thing I didn't know was how overwhelming their defensive numbers were. After probably about 2 or 3 in the morning Sunday, I realized how daunting their defensive numbers were, and I didn't realize their size. So probably throughout this year, I just glanced, mostly when they played Temple, I just glanced at, and I was aware that they had lost a 4 overtime game against Connecticut. So basically the number one thought was, here's a team that really takes their coach's personality onto the floor, and we will have to battle.
What about their offense? They sometimes have trouble scoring. What did you think when you saw them play on offense?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm concerned about, missed shots. Because missed shots could lead to offensive rebounds. Their size is daunting. And I mean this. You can report it any way you want, but I'm hoping that all their guys that are banged up, I hope that they have 100% health for the tournament. These kids get 120 chances to play college basketball, and I would hope that these kids get a chance to play at full health. So the size and missed shots lead to offensive rebounds, which leads to fouls. We can't foul. There are guys on our team that are going to have to play 40 minutes and play 40 minutes at both ends of the floor in order for us to be successful. I have an analytics guy, a graduate student. He gave me the numbers, and I think the numbers, if I'm correct, are 77 points at home and 63 on the road. But ironically, their defensive field goal percentage is the same on the road as it is at home. So, that I'm not into adages and all that stuff, but defense is traveling with them, and I'll be selfish and say I hope that their offense didn't make the flight to Spokane.
Coach, Aaron Brown, I know 2 years ago when you guys went to the tournament, he wasn't able to play, but by all accounts, he was one of the most energetic, positive guys, on the team at that time. What's it been like for him, from your perspective, now that he'll be able to play this time around?
Well, Aaron Brown is a Philadelphia kid. It's tough for Philadelphia kids to play at a Philadelphia school because you're never as good as the people around you think that you are. And he had to find his way. 2 years ago when we won the Atlantic 10 championship, we played in the NCAA tournament. He didn't travel with us. He wasn't with us. These guys all got beautiful rings for winning the championship. He was at that ceremony. He didn't get a ring. But I will tell you this, when we won in 2014, and I looked around the court as the celebration was full-blown, he was the first guy that, I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he got out of the stands and got on the court past security, but he was running around like he had 20 and 20 to win that championship. That spoke volumes, because that's not really how, as a younger guy, he was. The fact that he's going to graduate from St. Joseph's in May, that he's taken advantage of that, the fact that he has this chance and he's going to be announced as a starter on national TV, I think that's really great. But I'm just going to give you a snapshot of what this group is like. They're sitting in that locker room, and Aaron Brown and one of our deep walk-on subs are like laughing it up like they've been friends for 20 years. And I think we've accomplished something in his case.
I do want to give you a chance to talk about Isaiah. It seems like, DeAndre and Aaron get a lot of talk, but Isaiah with the weight loss, and you talk about improving from 13 wins last year and scoring 11 points and a half at Gonzaga last year. How much did his weight loss have to do with this turnaround?
He led the country in foul-outs last year because he just wasn't in shape enough to make plays. It's his rebounding. It's his layups that are much more impressive than the numbers that he's putting up. And he's gone through stretches here where if he misses, you're kind of surprised. In the summer when we met going into the start of preseason, basically, he said, what do you think I can accomplish here? And I didn't know where he was going with it, so I basically said, why don't you try to become the most improved player in the Atlantic 10? If you're the most improved player in the Atlantic 10, and we're as good as I think we can be, then all of the other opportunities are going to present themselves. I was amazed that he thought that way. Like, what mark could I leave? What mark could I leave? And the mark that he has left is our younger players now realize that you don't have to be spoon-fed here. You don't have to get something early in your career. And if you stay with this and you believe in yourself, then all of your dreams can come true. This kid is now an all-league player, tournament MVP. He's getting a second ring for winning the Atlantic 10. And in all the list, he's not the most improved player in the country. I don't know who that is, but he's on that list. And he'll get a chance to play professional basketball a year from now.
Anything more for Coach?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you for your time.
instead of, you want to pull back and lean a little closer to the mic and that should solve the problem.
Okay.
All right, we have Holy Cross student athletes, Malachi Alexander, Robert Champion, and Anthony Thompson with us. We will make a couple procedural reminders. First of all, please, if you're going to ask a question, raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you, and don't ask the question until the microphone gets there so everyone in the room can hear. Please direct your question to specific student athletes if you can. That will make the process go easier. We'll ask you to silence your cell phones. And also, this news conference and all news conferences at this site and all over are aired on satellite. Coordinates are SES3, transponder K05. SES3, transponder K05. And with that, we'll ask you to go ahead and start directing questions to student athletes.
Rob, are you guys running on adrenaline right now, or how are you feeling?
No, we actually we got some pretty good rest last night. The time change actually ended up helping us. I think it was like a 4-hour flight, and when we ended up getting in, we really only lost an hour, and we got a lot of rest today. You know, we were able to sleep in and get some good breakfast and kind of keep our feet up. So I think we're pretty well rested right now.
For Malachi and Anthony, was making this a month ago even a thought anywhere that you guys could get on a late run and get here?
Yeah, for sure. I think you know, we didn't think this far ahead, but we knew what we were capable of as a team. You know, the outside world might not have seen that, but we knew you know, within us that we were capable of making something special happen if we were able to put a solid 40 minutes together. So.
Yeah, like Malachi said, we knew what we were capable of, and we just stuck together through all the tough times and the tough losses. We were able to stick together, and things came together for us, and we were able to get some victories in our Patriot League tournament, and then momentum just took us on from there.
Tom Klaus, Spokes and Review. What time did you guys get into Spokane? You obviously said that you got a little bit of rest, but that schedule's had to be a little pretty hectic since that first game.
We got in around 12. Yeah, Pacific time. So, yeah, but then, you know, we got some good rest on the plane, and then, like Rob said, that the time change helped us. So, and then, you know, we had a late breakfast, and we've been able to get pretty well rested since then. So.
Malachi, Oregon's guys said they're not really paying attention to the seeds in this game. Are you guys?
Not at all. I think, you know, you watching these first few games in this tournament, you know, you got to come out ready to go, you know, no matter who you're playing. And, you know, we're for sure going to be ready because we know what type caliber team we're going up against. So, but, yeah, you just have to be ready to go from the jump.
Everybody talks every time this year how the 16's never done it. Is that something that you guys have talked about in the last 24 hours, that this could be sort of a historic performance?
Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously it's in the back of your mind, you know, that the 16 team has never beaten a 1, and how great it would be, you know, for, you know, not only our school, but for, you know, all the kind of small schools that get in here and get a chance to play a team like Oregon. But, you know, I think when it comes down to it, we're just going to approach it just like another game. I think that's how we made this great run in March, and I think that's why we're playing such great basketball, and I'm pretty sure positive that's what we're going to do tomorrow.
Robert, you didn't start this last game, but you ended up scoring the most points, a couple huge threes. Can you talk a little bit about that performance in the playing game, and when you play well, when you were able to hit those shots, it seems like you guys are able to win. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, I've kind of in and out starting lineup throughout this year. Coach came up to me before the Loyola game. I think we had 5 losses in a row or something like that, and they were all pretty close. And we decided to change and bring me off the bench and have EG start. And I think that was, you know, key for our team. You know, we changed defenses, and, EG brings us great energy at the beginning of the game. And it's something that I think we all kind of embrace this team mentality that, whatever you need to do to help the team win, that's what we're going to do. So, I didn't have any problem with coming off the bench or anything like that. And, so it's been good for our team.
Anthony, what have you guys learned about Oregon?
Well, we haven't really done much scout yet. When we go out there for practice today, we'll go over the personnel and some of the sets they run, and we'll see what they'll be able to run against our 1-3-1 and what defense they'll run. What defense they run.
More questions?
I just follow up on that. So you were playing number 1 seed. You haven't had a chance to scout them at all so far?
We just got in, so we just had breakfast, and then we haven't really done much yet. So when we got on the court, we'll go over the personnel, and then we'll also go over the personnel before the game tomorrow. So we haven't really done too much.
Anything more? All right, thank you, guys. We'll bring Coach Carmody up in just a moment. I can't see anything in these lights, so if you can, you're a step ahead of me. All right, we welcome Coach Carmody to the stage, and we'll go ahead and ask him to make a quick opening statement, and then we'll turn it open to questions. Coach?
Well, as I said in Dayton, people say, are you happy to be here? Yeah. I'm really excited. The team's excited. The Holy Cross family is excited. So we had a tough game last night, came down to literally the last play of the game, and we got in here a little late, but we're excited to go. We know we face a very tough opponent in Oregon. They had a great year, very, very well coached, good players that play together, and so we definitely have our work cut out for us.
Questions for Coach?
Coach, Tom Klaus from the Spokesman Review. Semifinal game and in the play-in game, Champion came up as your leading scorer. You brought him off the bench. Can you talk a little bit about his contributions and what that meant to you the other night?
You know, he wasn't starting in the beginning of the year. Then we weren't playing too well, and so he started for most of the Patriot League season, and then right before our first game in the Patriot League, we just decided to go with Eric Green, who had been injured and been coming back, and Rob sort of gives you a little more, sort of instant offense. So, and Eric is the kind of guy that has to play a bunch of minutes, and then he'll get you, not necessarily filling up the stat sheet, but 4 rebounds and a couple steals, a block here, and really tightens up our defense. So, and I actually asked Rob right before the game, the Loyola game, you okay with me starting him? Because, well, I asked him because I knew what he'd say, but he said, yeah, of course, Coach, no problem, and it's done very well, and he's made big shots in big times throughout the year.
Howie Stallwick, Portland Tribune. Bill, have you guys had a practice today or anything? Or are you just going to do the shoot-around type thing out here or practice later?
No, we're not practicing. No, come on. It's, we can go 5 months. What knowledge can we impart on them? No, it's we'll go through this here and we'll have a little walkthrough. Maybe tonight, tomorrow morning. Show a little bit of film of Oregon, and then we just there isn't too much you haven't seen. Types of defenses and offenses. Certainly the level here of athleticism is not what we see all the time, but and our guys are aware of that. So we're going to try to do what we do and do it well, and certainly be aware of what they do. But we're not going to practice. I think right now rest is more important than that.
What time did you guys get into your hotel last night?
I think about 1 o'clock. Was it about 1 o'clock? 1:15, something like that.
4-hour flight?
Yeah, they said it was only about 3.5 actually, so it wasn't so bad.
Thanks.
And they slept on it, so.
Kenny Ocker from Rush the Court. Do you think that your style of play, where you play at a slow tempo, and
Who says we play at a slow tempo? Have you ever seen us play?
I have not, but looks like you're the 10th slowest team in the country.
Oh.
So you play at a slow tempo. Do you think that and playing a lot of 1-3-1 defense and taking a lot of three-point shots, do you think that makes you more able to compete with the level of athletes that Oregon has?
Well, just to break that down a little bit, the three-point shots, everyone takes a lot of three-point shots these days, and you're being left behind if you don't, I think. That's one. Two, we're playing a 1-3-1, and I'll bet you if you took last night's game and you went through the stopwatch and see who took more time on each possession, all right, I'll bet it would have been Southern. And that might be true of a few other teams that we've played in the last, couple of weeks. So you want me to make it easy on them? We'll play them man-to-man. They'll score right on us, So this is the way we figure we can win. You try to win the game. That's the objective. And we tried a lot of different defenses this year. Man-to-mans, different kinds of zones, matchups, and this, seems to be the most effective. So I don't know if it makes you more likely or more able to beat, a higher seed, like a number one seed, but it's the way we play, and it helps us. We think it helps us have a better chance of winning.
Bill, there's been a lot of talk around here today about, a 16 never beating a 1 seed. You were obviously part of one of the more exciting 1-16 games back in 1989. What do you remember about that game?
I thought my guy got fouled. I was an assistant coach, but I think Morning slapped his hand when he took a shot. But it was just a great game. It was sort of not unlike this. I remember Selection Sunday when it was only about 20 minutes. And, Princeton, we had won the Ivy League title, and I sat down with some chicken wings, and I was going to just watch it and see where we were. And the first thing that came up, the first 3 words, as soon as it opened up, the show, they went right to it. And it just said Providence, Georgetown, Princeton, and I just couldn't eat. Because they just demolished everybody in the Big East tournament. I mean, they just like Oregon beat Utah a week ago by 30 in the final. Georgetown was doing that in the Big East, and the Big East was extremely strong then. Terrific teams. So that's what I remember. Now the game itself, it just went back and forth. We took care of the ball. I think we only had 4 or 5 turnovers for the game, and we gave ourselves a shot to win.
More questions for Coach? All right. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks very much.
Channel 3, Channel 4. Channel 2.
All right, we have Cincinnati student athletes, Troy Copain and Gary Clark. Make a couple of procedural announcements real quick. If you wouldn't mind, please, when you want to ask a question, if you'd raise your hand and we'll get a mic holder to you. Please don't ask your question until the microphone arrives. That'll make it easier on everyone's ears. If you could direct your question to a specific student athlete, that would be helpful and make the process go a little quicker. Please silence your cell phones. And this news conference and all news conferences are aired via satellite. Satellite coordinates are SES3, transponder K05. SES3, transponder K05. So that's what we have, and we'll go ahead and direct questions to Cincinnati student athletes.
Bill Cook, GoBearcats.com. Gary, can you give us an update on your ankle and how much you've been able to practice?
It's good. I've been able to get out there with the guys a lot more than I was last week, but it's it's really good. I'm excited for tomorrow. To definitely all the treatment and stuff. To go out there today and yesterday with the guys, it feels great.
So you expect to play and be at what, full strength, close to full strength?
Yeah, I'll be at full strength.
More questions?
Troy, this is your third time in this tournament. How is your approach different now? What have you learned the first two times?
Don't play scared. It's the opportunity of a lifetime. If anything, I would tell the team, it's a one-game tournament. It's your last opportunity for the year to step out there. Just leave it all on the floor. Play with your heart, all your energy, and let the game handle itself.
Troy and Gary, if we could, what most impressed you about St. Joe's?
Troy?
The way that their bigs are stretch bigs, that they don't play with two bigs in the post, that they both step out, can shoot the three ball very well, can beat bigger defenders off the dribble with their height. It's very tough for opponents that have centers that can't move their feet. It's a tough challenge for them, so I'm very impressed at the way that their skill level at the height that they have.
Gary?
I would agree with Troy. Having two bigs that really are versatile bigs and can handle the ball, and you always got to kind of find out where they're at on the court.
Kenny Ocker from Rush the Court. Troy, you played here 2 years ago in this building. Do you think that gives you an advantage coming back tomorrow?
No, I think I still gotta, not for just myself, but the team has to be ready. It's still another game. Our team is coming prepared, and I know their team is coming prepared. I don't think coming back into the same building with being, 2 years ago, it's kind of the same. It's not like a home court advantage type thing or nothing. We just got to get used to the rims with the time that we have today, and warm-ups tomorrow, just get a feel for it and, try to get comfortable as soon as possible.
Hi, I'm Nick Geranius with AP. This is for Troy. Can you talk a little bit about coming back from your last game, the heartbreaking loss, and how the team has handled that loss?
Well, it was tough, the day when we lost, but we got a lot of encouragement. We wasn't out the game. We didn't lay down. We had a couple mental mistakes, certain possessions where we didn't, play to the best of our abilities. But it wasn't a loss that we would keep our heads down. The basketball guys just wasn't on our side that day. They hit a shot, that led it to another overtime. 4 overtimes, that game's going down in history. It wasn't one to hold our head. We knew that we was feeling a little comfortable going into Selection Sunday, that we had to prepare, get our minds right for the big dance. It would have been nice, but it was nothing to, ruin our team or bring us down or make us feel any less of an organization than we are.
For Gary, back to the topic of their bigs and how maybe unique they are. you guys are more conventional. How much of a problem do you think that'll be for you to cover those guys and get out on them when you have to?
It'll just come down to us communicating well, throughout our defense, regardless of what we're playing. Really, the backline guys really talking and letting the guards know, where to go and when to, do certain things. And it'll all come down to just us communicating.
More questions? All right, thank you, guys. We'll have Coach Cronin in just a moment. mess up the formality. Right here, and water's fresh if you want it.
I got the right cup.
Yep, you're in good shape.
Hey, OJ.
All right, we welcome Coach Cronin to the dais, and we'll ask Coach to go ahead and make a quick opening statement, and then we'll turn it open to questions. Coach?
Well, first of all, it's an honor to be playing against Coach Martelli, and haven't had a chance to coach against him. For somebody like myself who likes to think I'm still younger, Coach Martelli's a guy in our business at the highest level of integrity, and has just done an unbelievable job at St. Joe's, where they're not in an arms race for facilities, and he's just somebody you look up to personally, that I look up to in our business, have great respect for, not only for his coaching, but also for his work with Coaches versus Cancer that I'm involved with myself, and he just does so many great things for our game and what he does for the fight against cancer with the American Cancer Society, being our head of Coaches versus Cancer. So they've had a great season, St. Joe's, tremendous run last weekend to the A-10 championship, obviously averaging 85 points a game. Has ruined my week. Watching film of St. Joe's and the way they spread you out on the offensive end. But we're happy to be back in Spokane. It's a great city, and trying to stay a little bit longer this time. So we had a little early exit last time we were here.
Coach Greg Lee with the Spokesman Review. I saw at one of your news conferences this week when you talked about the parity across college basketball this season, how no team is infallible, all teams are beatable. Could you share your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I guess to expand on that, for me, I think sometimes the media wants the great player or the unbeatable team because that's what moves the needle in the media. And I think that what hasn't been talked about this year is there's a lot of really good teams. That's why you see some teams taking losses. It's not because when you see people say, well, they're inconsistent. No, there's a lot of really good teams in college basketball. With the players getting older, because there's very few one and dones. So with transfers, so you take 4 years of 500 transfers a year. Okay, so now all those guys are they're older. So a junior's in his 4th year, a senior's in his 5th year. So the games are so much more competitive. Then you have the 5th-year seniors. People plugging holes everywhere. So you just have a lot of really good teams playing solid basketball. And the older kids are, the more they understand how to win, the more resolve that they usually will have. And it's tougher to get a W. It just is, in all conferences. So that's really what I was referring to when I talk about the parity. It's what I think is the misnomer is that means that college basketball's down. I think it's up. Now, obviously, we don't have a team like Kentucky last year with 8 supposed NBA guys or whatever it was. That was the anomaly. I mean, that's it's probably the greatest most talented team ever assembled. So that's not going to happen all the time. You just got a lot of really good teams this year, a lot of them, and so I don't really look at certain games as upsets. I just think people look at names and think it's an upset, or because somebody in the media picked a certain team, talked about a certain team, doesn't mean they're right. There's just a lot of really good basketball teams, and that's why you see ebbs and flows in the season. You can play well and get beat.
Mick, you're obviously that you're known for defense. When the first time
I was not.
When you ask
my dad just passed out in the back. He was my high school coach. I know, I'm just teasing.
When you ask a coach what his impressions are of Cincinnati, they always say defense. And you mentioned your dad. You've had 3 major coaching influences, I guess. Your dad and Rick Pitino and Bob Huggins. Why take so much pride in defense? Where does that come from? Why not offense?
Well, really, when you've had the jobs that I've had, being on Coach Huggins' staff, being on Coach Pitino's staff for 2 years of rebuilding, being at Murray State, and then having to rebuild Cincinnati. I've never been in a blue blood program where we have the best players by far. Trust me, in 2000 and 2001, when we had the 1st and 6th pick in the draft, we had really good offense. When as you remember, when Steve Logan was coming off the bench at Cincinnati, people weren't worried about our defense. They were worried about our offense. So when you have to so-called overachieve and you got to try to be one of the best teams without having all the best players, you got to do it with toughness. You got to do it with defense. You got to do it with togetherness, competitiveness, and that's in any sport. You could call that a football mentality, but it's the same thing in baseball or any team sport. You can't just rely on your talent to win. So that's just a basis of the places I've been as a coach, I think, and that's where it was born. But I think, in fairness to the teams that do have great talent, they're not going to win it all, or anybody's, unless they do have toughness and they do defend.
How much pride do you take in that?
I don't know. I don't. I try not. I'm not a guy that talks about myself, so I'm not comfortable in that. I will say that my guys know that my line is, if we're going to lose, we're going to lose our way, which is playing really hard and really unselfish. Yeah. And I got no. If we get beat doing that, I can sleep at night. We're not going to lose because of lack of togetherness or lack of effort or lack of discipline.
Let me ask you a variation of that. When Coach Martelli was out here, he said when your name went up opposite them for the first-round game, first thing he thought was that this team is a reflection of their coach, and not a lot of teams are. How much pride do you take in that?
Well, I'm assuming he wasn't referring to my team reflecting my height, because they're not a reflection of me in that by any sense. But no, in all seriousness, I take a lot of gratefulness in any comment that Coach Martelli would make about our program. Again, my respect for him and what he's accomplished in the situation that he is in and has been in at St. Joe's, when he probably years ago could have ran for greener pastures and bigger facilities. So my respect for him is off the charts. So I appreciate him saying that. Now I would like to be known, though, going forward in this tournament as the coach of the team that makes a lot of shots. That's where I'm really hoping to win a few games and have another press conference and have the other coach say, "Boy, Cincinnati's on fire the way they're shooting the ball." Because I really think that's what it's going to take for anybody to advance in this tournament. Somebody's going to have to ride the hot hands of a few of their players.
I have one more.
Of course.
From looking at the statistics, I don't know where they rank nationally or anything, but it seems like St. Joe's shoots a lot more free throws and makes a lot more free throws than their opponents. I don't know if you agree with if there's that.
No, they do. They've made more than their opponents attempted, even within their conference.
Yeah. So you are among the national leaders in fewest fouls. How important of a key is that in this game, is keeping them off the foul line?
Well, I'll say this it's a huge key. Obviously, we don't believe in letting teams beat us shooting free throws. The other thing is, if your best players are on the bench in foul trouble, it's hard to win. You're nowhere near as good of a coach. But I would say that where Coach Martelli's done a tremendous job this year is playing without a true big man, with Miles and Bembry a lot as his front line. What he's done to keep those guys, defend the rim, and keep them out of foul trouble is the reason why they don't give up a lot of free throws. It's not that they shoot a crazy amount of free throws. They really do a good job of not fouling because he's got to keep his two best players in the game. And he does it, and they still are able to play solid defense and protect the rim. Now, they do it in different ways with low post double teams and what have you, but that's a big key to the game, to the strategy, to how this game will go, because those guys have got to play without fouling for St. Joe's. That's a big part of what they do. But they've had great success because they're smart kids, and Coach Martelli can make in-game adjustments to the way he protects them, and they do it seamlessly when you watch them on film. I've seen them make 3 changes in the way they're playing their man-to-man defense on the interior, and within a 10-minute span, and you can see his kids are communicating, and that's because they've been so well coached, and he's got some veteran guys he's had for a while.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Josh Peter with USA Today.
Good, how are you?
Good. Back to the parity for a second. Are we making too big a deal about Yale winning and Little Rock winning, and are we bound to see a 16 seed finally end that streak?
I don't know. How's my buddy Joe Dooley doing? Did he get beat? He got beat. Joe's a good friend of mine in Florida Gulf Coast, so you never know. I mean, as far as the 16, I mean, tough to say. Anybody can get beat on one night in college basketball. I wouldn't say you're making too much of it because it's a story. I mean, you know, it's fun. What I would say is Little Rock is really good. Like when you win at San Diego State, the red flags went up to all coaches like, oh, wow, Little Rock's really good this year. That happened earlier in the season. I mean, we all know, you know, especially here on the West Coast, people know San Diego State doesn't lose at home. So, you know, and Yale's excellent. They're a very good basketball. They should have went to the tournament last year. They had a crazy ending to their last regular season game, which cost them the bid last year. So, as I said, there's a lot of good teams, and I don't think it's any discredit to Purdue or who else got beat? Who did Yale? Baylor. That's the beauty of the NCAA tournament. You only got to beat them once. You only got to beat a team once, and you only got to win by 1 versus you get beat them in the best of 5 or the best of 7. That's why it's the greatest show on earth. That's why everybody loves March Madness.
More questions?
They've had enough of me, I think.
All right.
Thank you, guys.